friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you could probably see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, I am going to sort my Philodendron Glorious. I don't know if you can see all the way up there, but it is literally touching the ceiling with its new growth. And it's like over the top of the pole extension. And I just can't have a plant this freaking huge in my home. So yeah, it's time to do some surgery on this moss pole, and I figured I would bring you along with me in it because this might be something that you guys might be doing down the line, and figured I'd show you how I do it in order to achieve my goals in keeping this plant happy and healthy and growing bigger and stronger every time. Before I get into this craziness, I want to say that if you are new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. Let's get into this. Let's take this bad boy down and see what we can do with it, because this is gonna be intense. It is so freaking tall. I'm 5'9" for reference. So this is like easily my nose height, so 6 inches, 5'3". My plant is 5'3". And that's really too freaking tall, and I don't have space in my home to keep this on the floor. I don't want it to be close enough for Cleo to like get into it, so I'm gonna have to do something. But like, it's just so stunning. Right, let's lay her down and we will figure out how we're gonna do this together. Oh my goodness. Ideally I would do this outside, but I haven't got outside space that I could do it in, so I've just laid down 2 potting mats on my floor because my table is going to be too small. I don't have a dining table. This is literally the only option for me. So we're going to have a bit of floor time, which is fine. And I just need to figure out where I want to cut it, because the poles join. Where do they join? Where do they join? Oh, here. They join about there, which is all well and good. But I need to figure out where I want to cut. There's just lots of figuring out to do, I think, at this point. I'll tell you the supplies that I've pulled out as well, because that is helpful. So, first off, I've pulled out a water sprayer. I have watered this pole recently, so it should be moist enough, but in case there's spots that aren't, I can spray it with some water to help the moss be a little bit easier to remove from the roots. I have some pruning shears, so I can decide where I want to cut it, because I will be chopping and propping this one. And then the other major thing is wire cutters, because I'm going to be having to cut the zip ties off of this as well as some of the wire mesh, and I'll show you a little bit more like closely when I'm doing that. But I essentially need to open the pole up pretty much all the way, which is going to be intense, and then take the moss and the roots out and then put it down to the bottom. I should say that I very well could just chop this here and repot the top bit and then have the bottom bit separate, but I don't have space for 2 plants this big in my collection. I only have space for the one. I am just like running out of space at the minute, and so this is the only way I can conceive of making this work. I know that I am risking losing some growth like this, or it potentially going a bit backwards and not being as like big for a while, maybe putting out some leaves more in this size, but I'd rather risk that and have a plant that fits in my collection, because I'm still going to have these big, beautiful, insane leaves. Like, it's not like they're going to go anywhere. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This is gonna be like super nerve-wracking. So I've got the pole here, and essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be trying to remove these plants from the moss, and in order to do that I need to kind of get in there, and so I'm going to open up one side of the pole, basically remove all of the cable ties from this section on one side, just so it stays in one piece a little bit better. I don't need to do both sides. So I'm basically taking it off to where the joint is right now, because I don't think I need to go much further, and that is now open, so I can get in there and remove some of that moss. Still being like super duper careful and try and pull out as much of this moss as possible while keeping the roots intact. I suppose I should start at the top, but then you wouldn't be able to see what I was doing, because I know this one has roots like all the way throughout. It is very, very heavily rooted. It is fully attached to the pole. It basically doesn't need any of the little like garden Velcro things that I had on there. This one loves to climb. It's why it's one of my absolute favorite plants. I've had so much luck with it, and I don't know if it's luck or, I wouldn't say it's skill, but I think it just really likes my home, so that's really good. Yeah, I'm just slowly removing as much of the moss as I can, and I'm gonna keep this moss and use it again. It's perfectly good moss, and I'll keep it here for this moss pole specifically, because there's no need for me to use new moss when this stuff works perfectly fine. So I guess while I am doing this, I will answer some questions. I asked y'all to ask me some questions about anything over on the Instagram, because I know this process takes a little bit. I did similar to this on my big monstera recently in a Patreon video, and I was talking about like wedding venues in that, so I had something to talk about, but otherwise I'm just gonna sit in silence, like peeling moss away from roots, which isn't the most entertaining, so I figured I would answer some questions while I do this as well. The first question is actually, would you ever come to New Zealand? Heck yeah, I'd come to New Zealand. I have always really wanted to travel down, like, to the southern hemisphere. I've never actually traveled to the southern hemisphere. I've been, like, close to the equator, but never, like, too far south, which I think would be really, really fun. I would love to explore, like, the nature of New Zealand. It is stunning. I've heard, like, really, really great things. I've seen beautiful pictures. I've heard there's, like, a lot to do adventure-wise as well. Like, I love adventuring and hiking and walking and traveling around and like road tripping, and I think that would be something that I would really, really love to do in New Zealand. Also, I did just watch Lord of the Rings for the first time, just the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring, for the first time. I'm 28, I watched Lord of the Rings for the first time. And it was really, really good, and there's lots of really beautiful places in that I know were filmed in New Zealand, and I really want to visit for that, just because why not? Like, I just think like Hobbiton and all of those beautiful places, like, it would be so cool to see them and like experience that. It would be a whole lot of fun, so that is something I would love to do. I think a couple other people asked about Lord of the Rings on here as well, because I posted it on my stories that it was the first time I watched it. Yes, I did really enjoy it. I think it, like, for its time especially, it was extremely, really well done. Like, all of the animation, CGI stuff in it was amazing. Like, even just how they made like Frodo and Gandalf like different sizes through like perspective management and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool, and like it was just beautifully shot and all around an interesting story. I did just find it really, really long. I did watch the extended ones because like Joe is a very big fan of Lord of the Rings, which is totally cool. And like, of course, he's hyped it up a lot, and so I think it's difficult to say whether or not it met my expectations, because it's been like hyped so much by so many people, and I've gotten like 28 years without watching it, and I feel like some people are like obsessed with it, which is awesome, like, for sure, like, if that's fine. So yeah, watch the extended cuts. We do have plans to watch the second and third as well. Basically, this came about because Joe has been wanting me to watch Lord of the Rings for ages. I saw that in London they're going to be doing some, like, oh, what are they called? Like screenings in cinemas of the Lord of the Rings ones in the extended editions in 4K, I think, which is pretty cool. And we weren't able to go to any of them except for the third one. We've been busy lately, and so the third one is going to be in cinemas again soon, just for like one day. And like, I kind of booked it for Joe and I because I know he would freaking love to go see it in cinemas and watch it with me for the first time. So we have planned to watch the first one and the second one before that, obviously, because I can't just go straight into the third one because that wouldn't make any freaking sense. But we did get to the end of the movie and I was just like, wait, do they not like get the ring in the fire? Like, I understand that it's a trilogy, but like, don't you want the films to stand alone as well? I don't know, I don't understand it completely, but I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a good film, and I'm excited to see the next ones, and especially to experience the third one in cinemas, because I feel like that's gonna be like obviously the best way I could possibly view it. So yeah, I do love myself a bit of fantasy, so that is very, very fun. And like, I think I get to understand Joe a little bit more watching them, because these are something that he really, really likes. He's read the books, he's seen the films multiple times, so it's like, I just get to know him a little bit better through this process as well, which is really, really fun. And it helps that I can like ask questions and like make predictions about what's gonna happen and stuff, and like, he's not gonna tell me what's gonna happen, but he can explain it really, really well to me, which helps because I like to understand fully what's going on, and you can't always understand fully what's going on sometimes. So yeah, that's my Lord of the Rings chat. Oh, that was fun. I really enjoyed watching it. Somebody's asked, how am I doing? I think I'm doing pretty well. This sounds so fickle, and I know I say it every freaking time, but when the weather has been amazing recently, like in the past few weeks and months, it just means that I am so incredibly productive. I get stuff done, I feel happy, I wake up happy. And ever since the weather's like slightly turned a little bit, it's made it a lot harder. Like, it was raining all frickin' day yesterday, like the entire day, like storming, heavy rain. And I was just like, this freaking sucks, I don't want to do anything. So seasonal depression season's coming back, which is very exciting. But otherwise, I'm really, really good. I've really enjoyed the summer. I've enjoyed like doing the work I'm doing here, and like going to all of the plant swaps and traveling around and planning my wedding with Joe, and there's just a lot of really great things that are going on lately, and it's been a really good, really good summer. I really enjoyed the summer, and like, I would do this summer again. It's been busy and chaotic, but like super fun and really, really rewarding with like the stuff that I've been able to do and travel around and do plant swap stuff and whatever. So yeah, I think I'm doing really, really well, actually, right now. I think I'm mostly mentally stable, I think. Which is saying something, because I'm not always, which is totally fine and normal, especially for me. Gosh, these roots are, like, there's lots of roots in here. You can't even see because there's a leaf. Like, there's hardcore roots in this, which is really great. But like, you can see I'm just piling up a big pile of moss around here, getting out as much as I possibly can around the roots without breaking them too much, because you kind of want to make them as small as possible so you're able to get them through these little holes in the wire mesh. But there's a caveat to that we'll get to in a little bit. Next one is, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Literally never. It's a trend on TikTok right now where people ask their male partners or male friends or whatever how often they think of the Roman Empire, and for a lot of men it's surprisingly a lot. I never think of the Roman Empire. I asked Joe, and he says he thinks about it like once a week, and I'm like, what's the context? Where do you, like, when do you need to think about the Roman Empire? Like, what reminds you of the Roman Empire so much so that you think about it? I don't think about it literally at all. But, like, I've been seeing loads of TikToks about, like, what the girl version of Roman Empire is, and, like, some people say it's, like, murder and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I do think about murder quite a lot. Whether it's being murdered, on the street, or, like, murder podcasts and, like, shows about murder and stuff like that. I do think about that quite a lot. That sounds really morbid, but this is true. No, I never think of the Roman Empire. Never once occurred to me to think about it in any real sense. I've got a couple questions about thrips and pests. Best way to get rid of thrips and spider mites without isolating plants. They all have them. Thanks. I mean, you never need to isolate your plants. It just helps them from spreading. But if your plants all have them already, it doesn't matter if they keep spreading. I think it's just a matter of continually treating them, like, once a week or every 10 days or so. You should be rinsing them all down, washing them with horticultural soap, and really trying to get them off as much as possible. Those don't always kill the eggs when you're doing that, and so you are going to have to continue repeating that for like 6+ weeks in order to get the like life cycle gone with them, because you need to continue to break the cycle and continue to keep killing them as they're hatching. Otherwise it's just going to continue on forever. So it is literally just a matter of repeating it forever. And you don't need to necessarily isolate your plants to do that. I don't tend to all the time because a lot of my plants do have pests. And so there's kind of no point in isolating a whole section because the whole section has them. So yeah, it's not always necessary to isolate your plants. Okay. I think I'm in a good spot right here to show you what I'm going to do next. So you can see I've got the roots as untangled as possible throughout. This section does have a little bit more moss in, but they're as untangled as possible. But this bit can't fit through those tiny little holes in the wire mesh. So what we do here is with the little wire cutters, essentially cut out a little cross section in there in order to make the hole bigger to get the roots out. Be really careful not to cut the roots in this process, but I just cut out one of those to make this hole slightly bigger so that I can just feed the roots through. It would help if they weren't attached lower down. Oh my goodness, this root is very long. Okay, I have just pruned it a tiny bit. That's fine. What the heck? This one too? Oh my gosh. So this root is connected through this. It went up and down over a bit there, and is all the way connected down here. So I am gonna have to go further down with my taking out of the moss. I only took it to the break there, but what I am gonna do is I've decided where I'm gonna cut. So I'm going to chop it there. You can see I've obviously chopped there, which is good, and this bit of growth is the top cutting from that. But there is a bit of a knob of new growth there, so I think I can chop here and it'll be fine. And that's basically at the top of that first pole anyways. And I'm gonna keep the 2 poles in this because I do like having it big, and I want to, like, I'm gonna need to keep it anyways if it grows from that point. So should be fine. Also, this piece, this top piece is quite big, so yeah, maybe I will go a little bit further down here to get a little bit more out. See if I can find the bottom of this root. Yeah, there we go. Dun, da, da, da. So now I can pull it through that. And then through that. There we go. Easy peasy. And now I'm gonna do the same on these 2 sections here in order to get them out. So let me do these quickly. And sometimes you will need to cut more just because of how the roots have grown in, but that is fine. So this is that section pulled out. There we go. So now that whole section of roots is out, which is awesome. And I just need to do the last one, which also pulls out. Oh my goodness. Let me scoot you back so you can see how freaking big this cutting is. Do you freaking see that? Holy cow. And it's got so many roots. I think I'm going to take this bottom leaf off because one, it is quite a lot smaller than the others. It was the first new leaf after the initial chop, so I don't necessarily need it. Oh, okay, well, I don't need to cut it. And this bottom bit will be now in the soil going forward, so there's no point in having that leaf on there because I don't need it. So take off as much of that as I can. Holy cow, that is a beautiful cutting. I'm just going to clear up some of this moss, put it in this container to get it out of my way. Like I said, I will be reusing it, so it's not like it's going to waste. But it just kind of gets all over the place, so don't need that in my zone right now. Also, this is only just the first part of the surgery, the extraction of the, like, cutting part of the plant. So I've done that, which is crazy. Ooh, maybe I'll put that in there for right now. Now what I need to do is I want all of these nice aerial roots from the top cutting to be able to go into this pole, because there's no point of me taking it off the top pole completely if it's not going to be able to root into the bottom bit of the pole when I put it back into the bottom. That being said, I think this pot, actually, it should be fine. It should absolutely be fine. But what I'm going to need to do is now, if I can take this bit off, I'm going to need to do the same as I did at the top, remove all these, like all of the moss from in here, so I can insert the other one and put the new, like the arrow roots that were originally in the top bit of the moss down in this. I'm hoping this makes sense. If it doesn't, hopefully, like, you'll see what I'm doing and it'll make sense in a minute. But I basically need to repeat this process again for the bottom bit, except I'm not taking these roots out necessarily. I'm just making room for the new roots to go in. I hope that makes sense. Oh, the next question is cute. Any plans to get Cleo a companion? I would frickin' love, 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 love to get Cleo a companion. Yes, but no concrete plans, just desire to. But I think in our current flat, we just don't have the space for 2 cats. It really is not a big space. And I would feel like quite guilty adding a second cat to the equation if we didn't have enough space to give them everything they needed. So maybe if/when we move, because that's still something that I feel like both Joe and I really want. We're just feeling tired of the London life quite a bit. I know I talked about that in my last... Why is this suddenly not working? And I think we are still in that sort of feeling where we're not enjoying London as much as we'd want to be. And so moving somewhere else would be great. If we moved somewhere that was a little bit bigger, I think we would definitely get another cat. Give Cleo a little friend to play with, because that would be really fun. Obviously not on the cards for right this second, just because it also would be like another expense, and like with the cost of living crisis right now, it's like not necessarily something we can just do. And we're also planning a wedding, so it probably won't happen like for a very long time at this point, unless we got like a cat for free that was like healthy and we didn't need to like do anything to it like vaccination wise, you know what I mean? What is your ideal number of plants? Oh my goodness, that is a freaking tough question, because I definitely think it's less than I have currently. I think I have too many plants currently for the amount of like time I can spend on them and the amount of care that they need, especially in pest season. It has been a little bit of a struggle this year. And I don't know if it's just been this year, because I've never had thrips as intensely as I have this year. And so I think it's less than what I have. I think I would downsize if I could, plant-wise. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the ability to. I don't think I would easily be able to downsize, but maybe like 100. I feel like that's a good place to be at, 100 houseplants. But I don't think I could just stick to 100 at this point. That would be... I literally have double that. And I feel like my house would feel quite empty. But if they're all growing really big, 100 would be great. I don't know. I feel like I have filled this home to its brim with plants, and I have been kind of struggling because I've been getting a lot more recently. I had a bit of like a binge, like working with companies and buying myself plants and stuff like that, and like people sending me stuff and like doing, I don't know, I just feel like I got a whole bunch of plants very recently, and they've been quarantining in my bathroom all together, and it's just not, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So yeah, I do need to do a bit of a purge, I think. You talk about being underwater. Have you experimented with no drainage? Not really. I haven't done much experimentation with no drainage. Only in semi-hydro have I done no drainage. And that was just like, you don't really need drainage in semi-hydro because it always has a water reservoir, so it doesn't really matter. So no, I have not. In soil, I guess it's something I could try. I know people like on Planned Parenthood and stuff do no drainage, and it works really, really well for them, which is great. Like, glad for them that it works really, really well. I just don't know if it would be for me. I really don't know. I guess I could try. There's no harm in trying. Also, look how crazy this root is. It goes from this top node here, this one, all the way, and I'm pretty sure it goes all the way down into the soil, which is pretty crazy, very healthy, love it. Okay, so, I think I've adequately, maybe a tiny bit more, tiny bit more. Okie doke. Flip this round again so it's easier for me. So we're now at a very interesting point in this process where I want to be putting this new cutting, I say new cutting, the top cutting into the pot and onto the pole. Essentially adding this in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully dig into the pot, trying again obviously to not disturb the roots too much, but you will have some disturbance, that's normal. But I'm just going to get down to the very bottom because I essentially want that piece to go all the way down to the bottom. So we are here, and I'm going to take this piece and put it in, get it as deep as possible into the plant, and there is just that tiny bit of arrow there that I'm just going to push down into where the soil will be. And that will be like its new spot. But you can see I have these big long aerial roots here and here that I need to get into this moss pole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially measure out approximately where they're going to be on the pole, like where I want them to land, and I'm just going to prep some cuts. So there for this one, it's freaking huge, and I don't have tons of space there, so I might join it with that one. Cool. And then this one will go there. So I've like prepped the areas so I know where to cut, and I can cut out my little crosses. You do need to be very careful when you're doing this because these are quite sharp as well, so just be aware. The goal here is to now get these roots into those little poles, so like the reverse of what we were doing before. And I can get my hand through because I opened up the pole to try and essentially feed the root through in as healthy a way as possible. You do need to be careful because the wire mesh is super duper sharp. So just being as careful as possible, getting that root in through the hole we've made. So now this, once it's all in, will sit flat against the pole there. And I'm going to continue doing that for all of these. This is probably the toughest bit of it, to like get them all in the right spots and like as tucked in as possible, because eventually we will be able to put these around it to make sure they stay, but you don't need too much of that once you have put the moss in and like can kind of use that to hold them in place. So maybe I will just put this around the end, the bottom here, to hold it where I want it, because this part I didn't take the moss out of, so I don't need to put it back. And it'll just hold this bit in place. So now we've got this all attached on here. It looks a bit like a crazy mess at the minute, but that is okay. And what we're going to be doing is refilling this moss pole with moss, because right now it doesn't have any moss in it. So we're going to take the moss that we took out and put it back in. And just like be careful of the roots in here, and of course not to squish them too much or break them. You don't want to be doing that. So just taking the moss, putting it in the open pole, and tucking it in around the roots that we've put in. Sorry, I'm not answering questions here because I'm concentrating on making sure I do this right. I would not like to mess it up now. And you just want to add enough so that it's like nice and tight in there, similar to how it was when you originally packed it. You don't want like massive air gaps or anything, because that's gonna make it like dehydrate faster. So we got the moss in there as it was. And then we go back in with the zip ties and like reattach the pole together. So wherever you took a zip tie out of, you go in and put one back. Just gonna continue going up the pole a little bit from here, because obviously the plants are, there's a node right there. I really don't know what you can see. There's a node right there, so I need to get at least that high with the moss, if not a little bit higher, because that's from the new growth, which I want to do very, very well, but we will see. We will see how it does. So we need to get the moss at least that high. Like I said, I'm going to keep the extension on this one because it's just going to keep growing quite quickly. The plant is a fast one, so may as well just keep it on the big one rather than messing about. And maybe once this bit has grown to the top, then I can do a chop and extend the like traditional way. Because by then I might need to do something else. So yeah. Someone has asked if I will be doing a plant swap in Manchester. Maybe. I think so. Next year we're hoping to have like 10 plant swaps throughout the UK, potentially internationally, which is exciting as well. But we're hoping to have like 10 sort of things, swaps throughout. And Manchester is one that has been heavily requested by people. Loads of people have requested Manchester, so I think that is probably somewhere that we're going to try to go. If you are a fan of that, let me know down below in the comments, and I can hopefully make sure that happens. But I can't guarantee anything just because I like... It's a lot of work planning all these plant swaps, and it's fun and really rewarding, but like a lot of work. So we will see. But yeah, hopefully we have like a big tour next year of lots of different places, because I think that would be really fun to do and to explore the UK. It's really brought me to like some new places in the UK. Like I've never properly been to Birmingham before. I went for Garner's World Live, but I was literally just in the NEC and at our hotel. So I don't think I could adequately tell you what Birmingham was like. But going there a few months ago was great. I went to Bristol for the first time, which was really fun, which is quite a surprise because I've been to that area quite a lot because Joe's family lives there, but not in Bristol. So yeah, it's been really great to travel around and experience new places and see new things. I don't think I'm going to fill the moss all the way to the top of this pole because it doesn't make sense to like hydrate moss that's not got plants in it. So I think I probably will stop fairly soon to here. Cool, I am so very close. I think I've got time for one more question. What's something you miss about the US and something you prefer about the UK? Like, this is definitely not US in general, but based off of where I've lived within the US, I heavily miss the really good weather of California. It was so nice. And like, I was definitely spoiled by it for many years growing up. And I feel very lucky to have been spoiled by it for so long. But yeah, I just miss the like warmth and the sun a lot. I know I kind of touched on that earlier, but it's not a surprise. It is like the main thing for me. Something I prefer about the UK though is the like public healthcare. It is so great. It means like I don't need to worry about getting injured or like being really sick or something. Like I'll be able to get the healthcare I need. If the US had public healthcare, that would be amazing, because healthcare is so freaking expensive. And like privatized healthcare, it's pretty intense. But I like that there's like the option for private healthcare as well here. Like if you wanted a specific service, you could get it. But I really don't have much need for that as a fairly healthy individual, which I am very lucky to be. I'm just trimming off the like end bits of the zip ties. Okay. Freaking look at that. I mean, it's still a freaking huge plant. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to put some of the garden Velcro around things to hold them in place a little bit better. And then this one down here, if I could scoot it over there, that'd be great. So if I put a band around it, I can. There we frickin' go. Okay, I'm actually really chuffed with how well that went. Look how good that looks. I'm like obsessed. I freaking love that. And it looks so much more full now too. Not that it wasn't looking full before, but it's like definitely looking super full now. So I think I am going to leave this side zip tied, just to make it easier to fill in when I do want to fill it in. And I can then put my cup for the cut method just in there like that. And I can use that to fill with water. It doesn't look amazing at the top, but I have a feeling it's, I mean, maybe not because it's not summer anymore, but this plant has been growing so freaking quickly for me over the past few months. And now that it's got these huge leaves, I kind of doubt that it'll like it can collect a whole lot of light like this. So I'm hoping that it stays really quick growing. But yeah, that is how I do moss pole surgery. It is a bit of a mental process. I wouldn't suggest it for the faint of heart or the impatient, because it does take some time, and there have been like a couple times when I did it with the Monstera where I just like ripped the roots because I was like, I can't figure out where it ends. And so I was just like, screw it, I'm cutting it. But luckily I didn't need to do that on this one at all, and hopefully it keeps growing really well. So yeah, that is freaking it. Before I log off, I want to say a big thank you to Miss Lydia Photo for joining in the Good Growing fam over on Patreon. I really hope you enjoyed over there and enjoy all the lovely bonus content. If anybody else did want to join, of course, absolutely no pressure. If you don't want to, that is totally fine, and I do not blame you for not wanting to. But if you did want to join, it's about £3 or $4 or €4 a month to join in. You can think of it as buying me a cup of coffee each month, or like running one of my grow lights for a single month, because that's approximately how much it costs to run a grow light per month. So you are literally taking care of my plants, which I very much appreciate. But at the same time, like, no pressure. Like, if you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, there's loads of fun stuff over there, and you get to know me better, which is a good time for everyone. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, enjoyed watching me perform like moss pole surgery. If you do have any questions, or if I didn't do like something clearly enough, let me know down below in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I can hopefully explain things a little bit better if needed, and answer all of your questions. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more. And oh, also don't forget to keep growing, because let's just keep growing. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!